India and Bangladesh are walking on dangerously thin ice right now. The relationship between the neighbours is strained and that diplomatic tension is bleeding straight into the sporting arena. India have officially postponed their home women's ODI and T20 series against Bangladesh. And the question is this only about politics or is there something deeper and messier simmering underneath? Now, India was supposed to host the Bangladesh women in December. 3 one-day internationals, 3 T20 internationals, a massive series for both sides. Bangladesh would enter the tour high on confidence after a gritty showing at the recently concluded World Cup. India were gearing up to play at home for the first time since lifting the World Cup. And this would have been the only international assignment before the Women's Premier League next year, which means crucial prep, the needed momentum and squad assessment. But the BCCI has now decided to push the series to a later date. No explanations, just a quiet rescheduling that speaks louder than words. And we believe, as do many other prominent voices, that this is tied to the growing political tensions between the two nations. For weeks now, the political atmosphere between India and Bangladesh has been volatile. The former Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, has been sentenced to death and is currently on Indian soil. Anti-India sentiment is rising. Diplomatically, this is a fire waiting to unleash itself. And this isn't new. Ever since the protests in Bangladesh grew, sports has taken a bit of a hit. Earlier this year, the Indian men's white ball tour to Bangladesh was also deferred to 2026, with the BCCI citing international commitments. But everyone knew the timing wasn't coincidental. But there's another layer to this whole issue concerning the women's rescheduling, a layer that involves cricketing culture, attitude and a worrying friction. And we here want to show you the full picture, bring in every possible perspective. Now, while the political situation is one reason there is also the growing discomfort around the general attitude that's coming out of the Bangladesh cricket camps. Women's captain Nigar Sultana has been accused by her own teammate of slapping the junior players. And instead of issuing a professional, measured response, debunking these accusations, she said this.
Why would I hit anyone? Am I Harmanpreet that I would go around hitting the stumps like that? In my personal space, I might bang my bat around. I might hit my helmet. That's my own business. But why would I do something like that to someone else?
A direct, unnecessary, unprovoked dig at India's captain Harmanpreet Kaur, a World Cup winning captain at that and a national icon, and someone who has already served her punishment for that 2023 outburst. Yes, Harmanpreet's actions in that ODI were unbecoming. That shouldn't have occurred in the first place, smashing the stumps, calling umpiring pathetic and carrying it all forward during the ceremony afterwards. It's all unacceptable. And she faced the criticism for it. But there's a big difference between an emotional reaction, even though an aggressive one on a cricket field, and the allegation of physically assaulting teammates outside of it. Yet Sultana deliberately dragged Harmanpreet into the conversation that had no connection whatsoever. The question is why though? Deflection, insecurity, or just part of a bigger pattern of unnecessary hostility? A reason why she is getting slammed for it. And of course, none of this is new. This rivalry has followed a rather unpleasant and sometimes toxic trajectory across both the men's and women's face-offs over time, especially in 2015. Bangladesh beat India in an ODI series. It was a massive achievement, but instead of celebrating their own players, a Bangladeshi daily printed a disrespectful cartoon mocking the Indian team. In 2016, of course, before the Asia Cup final, Bangladeshi fans circulated a revolting photoshopped image showing Taskin Ahmed holding a severed head of MS Dhoni, a national captain, a global sporting legend. Then, of course, the repeated jibes, online harassment, mock posters, a pattern that pushed rivalry into a realm you cannot quite recognize. But this is where the problem lies. Cricket between India and Bangladesh should be fiery, as it should between any two competitive sides. It should be intense. There has to be a contest, and that's what makes sports eventful. But when that turns into hostility, and when banter becomes bitterness, and when rivalry turns into being disrespectful through acts or words, then the entire atmosphere around it collapses. And right now, the tension, politically and emotionally, is too high. It's supercharged, and India doesn't want a series where diplomatic insecurity, crowd behavior, off-field controversies dominate the cricket that become the main talking point rather than the contest itself. And that the heart of this story is one truth. Cricket thrives when relationships between nations are more stable, when respect flows both ways, when rivalry fuels the contest. Right now, India and Bangladesh are walking a tightrope. And until the political atmosphere cools down considerably, the attitudes soften, and that bitterness somewhat fades, cricket between the two will remain in the corridors of uncertainty.
I was a revolutionary. I became a ruler. I claimed to protect my people. I terrorized them instead. I built palaces. I started wars. I lost everything. Some called me a defender of Arab pride. History remembers me as a dictator.